Welcome to the Ultimate LangChain and AI Agents course. I've designed this course to take you from writing your first line of LLM code to building fully autonomous systems that can reason, use tools, and remember conversations. We will start with the absolute basics of LangChain and LCEL. You'll master prompts, chains, and structured outputs. Then we move to the exciting part, agents. You will learn how to give your AI hands to interact with the real world using tools. We will cover Retrieval Augmented Generation, RAG, to let your AI read your private data. And finally, we'll build stateful agents with long-term memory using LangGraph. This is a complete journey. Let's get started. Great! Now that we're ready to start, let's look at the most critical part of any AI application, security or environment setup. You should never, ever hard-code your API keys directly into your Python scripts. It is a huge security risk. Instead, we use a .env file. As you can see on the screen, this file acts as a secure vault for your credentials. Whether you are using Groq, OpenAI, or Google Gemini, you define them here once. Then, in your Python code, we use the .env library. With just 2 lines of code, importing load.env and calling it, your application securely loads these keys into the environment. This works seamlessly across all major LLM providers and keeps your secrets safe. Setting up the model used to be complicated, with different classes for every provider. Not anymore. LangChain now provides a unified interface called init chat model. This is a game changer. Look at this code. We simply pass the model name, like llama3.1.8b-instant, and the provider, Groq. That's it. The model is ready. If you ever want to switch to GPT 4.0, you don't need to rewrite your logic. You just change that one string to OpenAI, and everything else keeps working perfectly. This flexibility is essential for modern AI development. Now, let's talk to the model. The primary method you will use 90% of the time is .invoke. It's straightforward. You send a prompt, and the model gives you a complete answer. In this example, we ask the model to explain LangChain in 1 sentence. The model processes the input and returns a response object. This object contains metadata, but the actual text answer is stored in response.content. As you can see in the output, we get a concise, accurate definition. This is the hello world of AI agents. But what if your answer is long? Waiting for the whole paragraph to generate can feel slow to a user. This is where streaming comes in. Instead of .invoke, we use .stream. This method doesn't return the whole answer at once. Instead, it returns an iterator of chunks. As soon as the model generates a word or a token, you get it immediately. By looping through these chunks and printing them out one by one, you create that engaging typewriter effect that you see in ChatGPT. It makes your application feel incredibly fast and responsive, even if the model is doing heavy thinking. Finally, let's talk about scale. Looping through a list of questions and asking them one by one is inefficient. It's slow. With .batch, you can send multiple requests at the same time. Here, we have a list of 3 questions. We pass this list to .batch, and we can even set max concurrency to control how many happen at once. LangChain handles all the complex async logic in the background. It fires them off in parallel, waits for all of them to finish, and gives you back a clean list of answers. This is essential for processing heavy workloads in production. And that covers the basics. You are now ready to move on to LCEL and building complex chains. In the real world, you rarely hard code your prompts. You want them to be dynamic and reusable. This is where prompt templates come in. Instead of messy string concatenation, we use chat prompt template. Notice the syntax here. We use curly braces to define a variable, like braces topic. When we call .invoke, we simply pass a dictionary with the value for that variable. LangChain automatically handles the formatting, ensuring your prompt is constructed perfectly every time. This is the foundation of reusable AI components. Now we have a small problem. When the model replies, it doesn't just give us text, it gives us a complex AI message object. It has content, metadata, token usage stats, and more. Most of the time, our application just needs the clean string to show to the user. This is where output parsers come in, specifically string output parser. It takes that complex object and automatically extracts just the string response. It's a simple tool, but it keeps your code clean and your logic focused on the data that matters. This is where the magic happens. We have a prompt, a model, and a parser. How do we connect them? In standard Python, this would be messy, nested function calls. But with LCEL, LangChain Expression Language, we use the pipe operator, a pipe. Look at the syntax. It reads exactly like a pipeline. Chain equals prompt, pipe, model, pipe, parser. Data flows from the prompt into the model and then through the parser. It is clean, readable, and standard across the entire LangChain ecosystem. LLMs are smart, but they are isolated. They can't do math accurately, and they definitely can't check your database. We solve this with tools. A tool is just a Python function that the AI executes. Creating one is incredibly simple. You just add the @tool decorator to any function. But there's one catch, the docstring. This isn't just a comment. The LLM actually reads this text to understand what the tool does and when to use it. If your docstring is bad, the AI won't use your tool. Creating tools is step 1. Step 2 is telling the model they exist. We call this binding. In LangChain, it's as simple as calling .bind_tools and passing a list of your functions. This method modifies the model object. It injects the tool definitions into the model's system context so it knows, hey, I have a calculator and a weather checker available if I need them. Note that we create a new object called model_with_tools. We will use this object for our queries from now on. Now, watch what happens when we ask a math question. What is 123 multiplied by 456? The model does not answer 56088. It knows it's bad at math. Instead, it stops and says, I need to use the multiply numbers tool with arguments A equals 123 and B equals 456. This is called a tool call. It's a structured request for action. Crucially, the model doesn't run the code itself, it just tells us to run it. In the next module, we'll build an agent that actually executes these instructions. In the previous video, we made a custom math tool, but you don't always have to build from scratch. LangChain has hundreds of pre-built tools. For this agent, we will use Tavily. It is a search engine built specifically for AI agents. Unlike Google, which gives you messy HTML, Tavily gives you clean, parsed JSON that the model can easily read. It's as simple as importing Tavily search results and initializing it. Now for the magic line. We use create_react_agent from LangGraph. This function takes your model and your list of tools. It automatically builds a state graph, a loop that handles the thinking, the tool calling, and the observation. You don't have to write the if-else logic to check for tool calls manually. This function wraps it all up into a single executable agent object. It combines the brain, model, and the hands, tools, into one autonomous system. Running the agent is similar to running a simple chain, but with one difference. We pass a state object, specifically a list of messages. When we invoke it, the agent sees the user's query, research LangGraph. It decides it doesn't know the answer. It executes the search tool. It gets the results back, and finally, it writes a summary. We didn't have to code any of those steps manually. The agent figured it out. That is the power of autonomous systems. LLMs speak English, but our code expects structured data like JSON. If you want specific fields, like a title, a list of tags, or a difficulty rating, you shouldn't have to write complex regex parsers. Instead, we define a schema using Pydantic. This class acts as a contract. We tell the model, I don't want a paragraph of text. I want an object that looks exactly like this. The field descriptions are crucial here, as they guide the model on how to populate each attribute. Once we have our schema, we need to apply it. We use the .withStructuredOutput method. This wraps our original model. Now, whenever we call invoke on this new object, it won't return a string message. It will try to fill out that Pydantic class we defined. It forces the underlying LLM, whether it's GPT-4 or Llama 3, to strictly adhere to the structure, handling all the parsing logic for us. Now look at the result. When we invoke the model with a simple prompt like plan a video about Python decorators, we don't get a string back. We get a YouTube video object. We can access result.title or result.difficulty directly as properties. The data is already typed, validated, and ready to use in your application's logic. This is how you build reliable systems on top of LLMs. By default, LLMs have no memory. They forget everything the moment they answer you. To build a real chatbot, we need persistence. In LangGraph, we use a component called a checkpointer. For development, we'll use Memory Saver, which stores chat history in RAM. In production, you'd swap this for Postgres or Redis. We just pass this checkpointer into our agent constructor. Now our agent has the capability to save and load its own state. But wait, if we have 1,000 users, how do we know whose memory is whose? We use a thread ID. Every time we invoke the agent, we pass a config dictionary containing this ID. This ID acts as a key in our database. If you send thread ID equals user1234, the agent loads Bob's chat history. If you send thread ID equals user999, it loads Alice's. It's completely isolated. So does it work? In the first turn, we told the agent, I'm Bob. In the second turn, we just asked, what is my name? Because we passed the same thread ID, the agent rehydrates its memory, sees the previous messages, and answers correctly. If we changed the thread ID, it would have no idea who we are. This is exactly how ChatGPT keeps your conversations separate. LLMs don't read text correctly. They do math. For an LLM to understand your private documents, we first need to convert them into numbers. This is called an embedding. An embedding is just a list of floats, coordinates in a multi-dimensional space. Similar concepts end up close together in this space. Dog is close to cat, but far from car. We use specific embedding models, like OpenAI's Text Embedding 3, to transform your PDFs and text into these vectors. Once we have the embeddings, we need somewhere to store them. Simple arrays are too slow. We use a vector database. In this example, we use FACE, Facebook AI Similarity Search, which is great for local development. The code is one line. face.fromDocuments. It takes your documents, runs them through the embedding model, and builds a specialized index for super fast search. We then expose a retriever, which is the interface we'll use to ask questions later. Finally, we put it all together. We use create retrieval chain. This connects our retriever to our model. When we ask who created LangChain, the chain does three things automatically. It queries the vector store for relevant chunks, it stuffs those chunks into the prompt context, then it sends everything to the LLM to generate the final answer. The result is an accurate answer based on our private data, not just what the model was trained on. Agents can talk forever, but your wallet can't handle it. Context windows, the amount of text an LLM can read, are expensive and limited. To fix this, we use summarization middleware. It's a function that watches your message history. When it gets too long, say more than 10 messages, it triggers a separate call to summarize the older messages. It then deletes the old messages and replaces them with a single summary object. This keeps your agent lightweight and fast, no matter how long the conversation goes. If your agent has the power to send emails or delete files, you probably don't want it running completely autonomously. You need a human in the loop. In LangGraph, we can set interrupt before equals send email. When the agent decides to call that tool, it freezes, it pauses execution, and waits. You can then inspect the state, edit the email draft if you want, and then manually type approve to let it resume. It gives you the best of both worlds, AI automation with human oversight. Finally, when things go wrong, and they will, you need to see what happened. Why did the agent call search 5 times? Why did it crash? We use LangSmith for this. You don't need to change your Python code. You just set 3 environment variables. Instantly, every single step, every chain, every tool call, every token is logged to a dashboard. You can inspect the inputs, the outputs, the latency, and the cost. It is indispensable for production agents.